All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are cracking a case that trips up, almost every single person learning German. Why do pronouns like I and you keep changing their form? We're going to solve this mystery for good.
Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to approach this just like detectives. And our first piece of evidence? It's a super common mistake. You might think, well, since ich means I, you'd just say Avi liebt ich. But that's kind of like saying Avi loves I in English. It just sounds wrong, right? The clue to solving this isn't in the pronoun itself, but in what that pronoun is actually doing.
So, here is the absolute key to the whole thing. A pronoun in German changes its form to match whatever job it has in the sentence. Think of it like putting on a different uniform for a different task. The word itself changes to show you its role. So let's investigate the two most common jobs a pronoun can have. First, you've got the one who's doing the action, and then you've got the one who is directly receiving that action.
And this right here lays out the core difference perfectly. The doer is what we call the nominative case. That's the subject, the one you already know. Like when you say, ich lerne Deutsch, I'm the one doing the learning. Simple enough. But the receiver, that's the accusative case. That's who's on the receiving end of the action. Okay, let's go back to our original puzzle. Who is doing the loving here? Ovi. So Ovi is our subject, our doer. And who is receiving all that love? Me. That means me is the receiver, the direct object. So ich has to put on its receiver uniform, and it becomes mich. And just like that, case closed.
Now this reveals another huge clue. See, some prepositions, they basically act like a boss. They just automatically tell the pronoun which uniform to wear. The preposition für, which means for, it automatically forces any pronoun that follows it into that receiver role, the accusative case. So er has no choice but to become ihnen.
So we've got the doer and the receiver pretty well figured out. But, the plot thickens. Because there's a third key role we need to investigate. This person isn't the doer, and they're not the direct receiver. There's someone else who's involved. This third job is the recipient, also known as the dative case. Just think of this as the person who benefits from the action, or maybe to whom something is given. They aren't getting the action directly, but they're kind of the end point of it all. And here we see it in action. Okay, let's break it down. He is the doer. The book is the receiver of the giving action. And who is the ultimate recipient of that book? To me. So ich changes into its recipient uniform, which is mir. And just like before, certain prepositions like mit, which means with, they also automatically assign this dative job.
All right, detectives. We've now identified the three main jobs. We have the doer, the receiver, and the recipient. So now it is time to reveal the complete solution to our mystery. Let's call it the master chart of suspects. But hold on, before we look at the whole lineup, let me show you a few helpful patterns, some shortcuts. For we and you all, the receiver and the recipient forms are exactly the same. And for she, they, and it, the doer and receiver forms are the same. Spotting these little patterns makes the whole system so much less intimidating. And here it is, the master chart, your key to everything. Just take a second and look at that first row for I. You can see the three uniforms we've been talking about. Ich, the doer, mich, the receiver, and mir, the recipient. Now look down at the wir row. See how uns covers both the receiver and the recipient jobs? That's that pattern we just spotted. Now don't try to memorize this right now. Think of this as your reference, your key for solving any pronoun case you come across. Okay, enough theory. The best way to get good at solving these cases is to just get some practice. So let's put your new detective skills to the test with a few quick examples. So ask yourself the question, what's the job of you in this sentence? Who is doing the seeing and who is being seen? Yes, exactly. I am the doer, and you are directly receiving the action of being seen. That is the receiver job, which means you need the accusative form, dich. Nicely done. Okay, what's the big clue here? Remember what we said about some of those prepositions being the boss?
Perfect, you got it. That preposition mit is a dead giveaway. It always bosses the pronoun into taking the recipient job, the dative case. So ich has to become mir.
Now this one's a little tricky. It's a special case. You see, in German, the verb helfen, to help, it just doesn't work like it does in English. It has its own special requirement. And there it is. You got it. Even though it really feels like them should be the receiver, the verb helfen always takes the recipient, or dative case. It's almost like you are helping to them. So sie becomes ihnen. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, it's this. Stop thinking about memorizing charts and start thinking like a detective. Always ask yourself, what is this pronoun's job in the sentence? Is it the doer, the receiver, or is it the recipient? So the next time you're faced with one of these choices, you'll have the mental framework to crack the case all by yourself. Thanks so much for joining me on this investigation.